Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back. It's me, Teri Hunter. I'm here on Lada's YouTube channel every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific with messages from your angels for traversing this week's upcoming astrological transits. This is Lucky. Good morning, Juan. Good morning, Small Wildflowers. Hi, everybody. This is Lucky. He got a haircut this week. He wants to say hi and show off his new do. As you can see, he always looks like he's enjoying being on camera. Not. Okay, we're going to let him go. All right. I have asked God and the angels to work with us today so that we have a much better broadcast than last week. Today officially starts the Mercury retrograde in Pisces, and on March 4th, it will move into Aquarius. So I think that's going to feel funky because first we're going to be reviewing things in an emotional way, Pisces, and then I think we're going to move into a more cerebral way, Aquarius. Good morning, CC Pups. Good morning, Stephen. Good morning, Cole. Good morning, Yulma. Good, I got everybody. Okay, so first point of business is we had no winners last week. The number was 261, and I'm not surprised, honestly. 261 and 100 were the numbers, and given the bad choppiness of the video, I just felt like we were behind the 8 ball last week. Good morning, Devi or Devi. Good morning, Barbara. Good morning, Cosmo Kid. Okay, so last week when it was so choppy, I don't know how much. Good morning, Nadine. I don't know how much of you guys got to hear me talk a little bit about Saturn, and I wanted to kind of go over that again. Oh, welcome, Yulma. First time here. Raylene, welcome. A lot of people will talk about, Saturn and Pluto are still right up against each other. And frankly, they're squaring my Sun and my Mars. And on the other side of my chart, my K2. So I wanted to kind of talk about Saturn and how Saturn has reflected to me on a being energy, okay? That, Saturn talks about the hard work, doing the hard work, being practical, being realistic about things, following the rules. If you think about it, oh my gosh, Andrea, are you telling me that I'm buffering right now? Oh dear. Is it happening right now? Small Wildflowers, am I buffering? Oh, dear God. Please say no. I'm going to be so aggro if it is. I'm not buffering. Good one. Okay, cool. All right. Because that's just going to be more than I can handle for 2 weeks in a row. All right, let me go back to this whole Saturn thing. So what I think is that Saturn on some level, while the human talks about these practical dynamics, the most practical thing the human can do is to check into their being energy. What do I believe about a situation when I move forward? I believe that right now, Saturn, because it's going through these dynamics, especially in my chart, but overall, it's really asking me, what do I believe about myself? And as I ask that question, which may be something that's deeper than what I'm experiencing. So I guess where I'm going with this, guys, is I feel like Saturn's reward comes in the form of being aware of my beliefs and my disposition as I move forward in my actions. Now, let's add this Mercury retrograde that starts today. It's going to be in Pisces, which rules the 12th house, which could bring up things that are hidden, illusions, things that we might have perceived in a rosier way. And then it's going to retrograde, I believe, on March 4th into Aquarius, where that's going to take us into a more practical way, because we're going to start thinking it from our minds, from water to air. So as you're going through the next 3 weeks or so, I want to offer the idea of reflecting on your being energy. What is my deepest belief about a certain situation, about my love life, about my ability to make money, about my ability to find community, all of these things. And as you ask yourself those deeper questions, notice how your mind will project into the thing that you want and then shoot back as fast as it can into what you have experienced, which will then take you down a bit of a rocky road. Potholes, U-turns, all these sort of things. At this moment, do your best to try to find a neutral. And as you find the neutral, then you can start to ease into a deeper rooting and belief into where you want to go. And then spirit can start to support those things. This beginning of 2020 has been really rough. But we expected this. We expected, as we got closer and closer into this conjunction of Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, that this was going to happen. So as we surrender to it and we go into those deeper beliefs and we use this Mercury retrograde to rethink, reflect, rest, reconstruct, reconceptualize, all those are words that can work for us. Okay. And so that, I think, will set us in a platform. So as we move into the springtime, into March, leaving this winter season behind, we can truly start to feel ourselves blossom a little bit more. Okay. So here we go. For those of you that are new on my channel, I play a little game every week where you can pick a number between 2 and 500 to win a half-hour free reading with me. This week, the numbers were 261 and 100, and unfortunately, nobody won. You have to come back in a week to reclaim your prize, if indeed you did pick that number. The live chat supersedes the comments, and here we go. So, and also what I'm going to do is I go backwards. I start with Pisces, and I work towards Aries. I did this a few retrogrades ago, and it stuck. Floropal, yes, believe it or not, a few people have won. Few people have won, and they don't even come back to check. So I've had probably 5 people win and not come back to check, or check and never book, because you have 1 week to check. I think overall, over this whole month, year that we've been doing this in March, I think we've had, I don't know, not many winners, to be honest with you, maybe 10. Surprisingly enough, I thought people would win all the time when I started this game. So put an intention out to spirit. And I want to say this too. Very rarely am I getting the master numbers 111, 222. It's been more like 261. Oh gosh, the light. 261. Can you see that? Reflection's funky. So anyway, yeah, go from random numbers. Okay. All right, so let's start with our readings. Again, I want to be clear, guys. These are not predictions. This is angelic advice for traversing the transits that are coming up. So we're going to start with Pisces and work our way backwards. And I want to say this, Pisces, this retrograde is in your first house. So it's going to be a lot about yourself. Okay. Oh, Floropal, we do a recap of the numbers that are out of play. We do it in the afternoon on Sunday. That way, because we just don't really have time to do it beforehand. So anyway, and we will also do a recap of the timestamps, and we do that on Sunday afternoon as well. So please be patient with us. Most of the time, Small Wildflowers and I have commitments on Sunday afternoons that we have to attend to. And then by the time the video processes from the live stream. So thanks, guys. All right, here we go. Pisces. Oh, what's going on here? We've got some silly cards over here. Hold on. All right. So here we go. Pisces Sun, Pisces Moon, Pisces Rising, and Pisces Stellium. This is for you. And I go by this: rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. And I say stelliums, and those of you that aren't familiar with what a stellium is, it's 4 or more planets in one house or sign. And I believe that that is a very influential thing on your life path. So I think that that's something to pay attention to as well. Okay, Pisces, our first angel is Bridget. Our second is Francesca. The third is Shanti. And the final is Patience. Okay. And again, for those of you that are new, I use 2 decks. The first is Messages from Your Angels by Doreen Virtue. And the second is called, I believe, The Legend of Avalon by Colette Baron Reed. Yes, Nisuri. Some people say 3. I was being more conservative, but I agree. 3 planets will also have a strong influence. Okay. So this deck is based on the Legend of Camelot. So there you go. All right. Joining Bridget is the Forgiveness card. Joining Francesca is the Butterfly. Joining Shanti is the Raven. And joining Patience is the Bee card. Okay. So this is pretty cool. So I want to offer this for my Pisces. In the foundational position, this is what we're sitting on. This is what we were sort of talking about in the beginning of the broadcast about looking deeper into a situation. And the Forgiveness card for me is not about forgiveness. It's a reconciliation. I have a Taurus moon, and in my life, I've experienced people sort of doing the same things that hurt my feelings over and over. So forgiveness became reconciliation. It became an opportunity for me to reconcile a situation and learn from it. So Bridget's asking you to look deeper, Pisces, into the situation. And if you're feeling hurt, this may not be that you are being victimized by something, but there's an illusion that is being broken, or something that was hidden that you couldn't see that is allowing you to see it now, so that you can reconcile the situation so that it can actually empower you. And I'm going to go to the final position, because the first and the fourth position are more in the 3D world. It's the foundation of which I sit on, and then where I'm stepping into. And here is the angel Patience. And Patience is not about actually sitting on an egg and waiting and holding my breath. It's about assimilating and synthesizing the energies, and to reconsider how we are walking through and what we are experiencing in our everyday lives. So I want to say this: in your opportunity or your obstacle, Pisces, is Francesca saying, what do you visualize right now? Focus in on that. And then we have the Butterfly. This is transformation, but it's transformation through challenge, because the Butterfly is not an easy transformation. Oh, crap. What is this buffering thing? It's really starting to bug me. Okay. And here in your angel's advice is the Raven, offering magic and synchronistic events. This is a timings card. And here's the angel of peace, Shanti. So Pisces, what I'm going to do is I'm going to recap. For this next week, as we go into this Mercury retrograde, looking deeper into a situation, and not where illusion is happening to you, but where you may be looking at things through rose-colored glasses, or you may be ignoring things that you don't want to see because they would cause some sort of action on your point. But what I feel like is that will give you a deeper sense of what is your real belief in a situation. And if indeed you want to manifest that, then part of your job is to allow yourself to move into that energy, to look deeper into the truth of what you want, and then to allow the angels to start to open something up for you. Meaning, as you look at this, maybe it's a timing issue. Maybe this is not about something I need to push forward. My job is to be in the energy of reception and to learn from that. And that will give me the reconciliation I'm looking for. I don't think this is negative. I think this is exactly the Mercury retrograde asking me to look deeper into a situation so I can understand it more and I can be empowered by it. All right, let's go on to our Aquarius, because Aquarius is also going to feel this Mercury retrograde because it's going into Aquarius on March 4th. And in doing so, it's going to take you from your emotional body and reflecting emotionally into what you're thinking. And that might mess with your intuitions a little bit, because you may get into a more cerebral place. So let's go on to Aquarius. All right. Welcome, Kim and Nikki. Welcome back, Aquarius X5. Belladonna. I think I said hi to Shelly. I think I said hi to Kim Verser. Steve Stanel. Never fear, Steven is here. Okay, and you're so funny, Steve. Take two buffering. Does anyone even remember buffering aspirin? Okay, good morning, Rosie. I think I got everybody. Okay, here we go. Aquarius rising. Whoops. Aquarius rising, moon, sun, and stallions. I've been feeling this Mercury retrograde for the last week. It was so crazy. Last week was so annoying on the video or on the live stream. We did it 3 times and it still was terrible. So I'm really hoping that Spirit is going to do something about keeping us on task. Okay, here we go. Aquarius. Our first angel is Crystal. The second is Omega. The third is Vanessa. And the final is Layla. Well, isn't that funny? Because putting you in your practical mind, this Mercury retrograde may make you think that, you know, you need to do something, and it's going to be something just the opposite. Okay, here we go. Oops. All right. Joining Crystal is the Baird. Joining Omega is the Queen. Joining Vanessa is the Partnership card. And joining Layla is the King. Okay, this is how I want to say this. For Aquarius, Crystal is saying have faith and hope because there's something more on the horizon that you can't see. Can you see how transparent her wings are? That reminded me so much of a dragonfly. They're kind of iridescent, you know, and this is a card of faith. And for Aquarius, here is the Baird. The Baird is all about my history, my story, where I come from. So here we go with our Mercury retrograde entering Aquarius, which then makes me think, go into my mind, go into my story, go into what I've experienced. And this is where you're going to have to pull yourself into a place much different, much more where you want to go. And in your opportunity or obstacle is Omega and the Queen. Omega is a card of victory, a card of just keeping up the good work. The good work is keeping up the faith. And I'm going to go here into the angel's advice because there is Vanessa asking you, are you going to base your decisions on faith or fear? Now, we have the Queen here in my opportunity and or obstacle. The Queen is not just a feminine energy. It's a receptive energy. It is, you know, I think of it sort of in hardware terms, meaning, you know, the screw and the nut receives the screw. So this is about a receptive energy. It's not a sexual connotation. And there's the Partnership card. This is twofold, guys. It's coming into partnership with your faith because you've been keeping up the good work of believing in yourself. But I also think that it may have something to do with partnerships because there is the King and Layla. So for those of you that are in desire of a relationship, we just had Valentine's Day, you know, love is in the air in February. This is Layla is asking you to spend time in nature looking for signs and omens. And then the King is about a male energy, but it's also about justice and balance and karma. So I want to offer it this way. For my Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stallions, Crystal is saying have faith and hope beyond your history. Because as you have that faith, good things are coming to you. They're coming to you. You don't have to chase them down. And part of your job at this moment is to think of having faith. Faith is not an action. Faith is a reception. And in doing so, I think you will find your karmic justice, and Spirit will give you signs and omens as you pay attention to the things around you. Before I started this broadcast, I had all the windows open. I shut them because I live on a highway and it's super loud and God knows what will happen during the broadcast. But there was a Seahawk. I've lived here long enough where I can hear a Seahawk's cry, and there's a mate to the Seahawk. They're usually talking to each other. One is at the nest and the other's fishing. But the Seahawk traverses the air and the water element, Pisces and Aquarius. So I feel like, guys, as you can sort of traverse these two elements between what your emotions and your heart wants and then what your head has experienced in the human experience. And then you go and you say, well, what if there's something different? And that's where the faith comes in. And then we thank God and the angels for bringing in a new experience to anchor that faith. And then we get the ball rolling. Now we couple in that we've been going through this transit that only happens once every 184 years. We've reached the pinnacle. And now we're on the backside of that. Even though it's still a little challenging, it's going to get easier or at least less tense as we move away from it. And it's funny because I've been talking about this transit without ever looking at my own natal chart. And Pluto at 27 degrees is going to hit my Mars, square my Mars. And when it hit 23 degrees, it was squaring my sun. Yay! But at the same time, if I look at it and I brace, then I forget about all the transformational good aspects that Saturn and Pluto have to offer. It's time to check into the higher vibrations. That's what I think. Okay, let's go on to our Capricorns. Good morning, Melissa. Good to see you. I said hi to Devi. I want to say Levi, so is it Devi? Devi? Yes, the heart wants what it wants. It does. Okay. Nikki, I hope everything's going well with your housing. Teri, Saturn is going into Aquarius. Yeah, I think that will ease off as well. I'm hoping that's my midheaven and my Saturn are both in Capricorn, but the challenge is those squares hitting my south node, and then it obviously hits my north node too. So I've just been like, wow. Okay. Well, we're going to keep good thoughts for you, Nikki, that you find the perfect place. Okay, Capricorn, here we go. And I got to tell you, I love Capricorn in so many ways. But it's funny because what I've noticed most about this dynamic is not that it's restricting me in the material or in my flow of work as much as it has caused me to second guess myself. That self-doubt, that am I worthy? Am I not worthy? Am I doing it right? And then I have this Aries rising, right? So somebody takes a pot shot at me and I kind of take a pot shot back. And then that puts me right back into my Saturn energy of being not perfect all the time. So I want to say it this way for everybody, but also for my Capricorns as we move into talking about Capricorn. Part of this is being energy, is being human. The human experience, we make mistakes. We are flawed. We are having contrasting experiences. It's why we come here. It's why we incarnate, so we can be empowered by our fears. We can walk through them and feel that achievement, that adrenaline rush. So when we play to that game, it changes the whole story. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. Capricorn rising, Capricorn moon, Capricorn sun, and Stallions. Yes, Andrea, I believe that Aries is a warrior, but what I really like is what David Cochran said, because they're a warrior for truth. They're a warrior. I feel like the Mars energy is really the general to the sun. Sometimes people think that, or most astrologers will say the sun eclipses, it burns out Mars. But to me, they're, in the higher vibrations of it, they work in tandem. You cannot be a good ruler without having a good team around you, good generals, good cabinet, all those things. So as we start to consider these things and we start to look at them from their higher vibrations and then start to say to spirit, okay, let's start giving me some of these higher vibrational experiences so that I can be an ambassador for others. So here we go. So I love my Aries rising. I wouldn't change it for anything. I mean, I don't know what it would like to be anything else, but oops. All right, dropped a card back in a flash. All right, let's get moving along here. Good morning, Violet. Welcome. Did I say, I said good morning to Cole. Okay, everybody, gotcha. All right. Okay, Capricorn, our first angel is Teresa. The second is Francesca. The third is Chantal. And the final is Archangel Gabriel. Sometimes I've stuck up for my friends more than they want me to. They're like, back off. I'm all good. I'm like, that's not right. Oh, well. I know. It's so, when people find out I'm actually a Libra sun, they're like, really? Would never have thought. Okay, here we go. Capricorn, rising, moon, sun, stelliums. Teresa's being joined by the deer. Francesca's being joined by the goblin. Chantal's being joined by the risk card. And Archangel Gabriel's being joined by the wind fairy. Okay. So as I look at this, oh, thank you, Stephen. You are so generous. I so appreciate you. The deer is about gentleness and diplomacy, and Teresa is about taking care of other people, but also a card, a bit of worry. And so when I look at this for my Capricorns, I kind of got this feeling that, I'm going to say it this way. Have you been a little stoic in how you're feeling? Have you been so gentle and diplomatic maybe with others that you are somehow not taking care of you? Because there's the goblin and there's Francesca. Francesca's asking you to visualize what you want. And when I first saw the goblin, I felt like your feelings had been hurt, or potentially, I don't want to say dismissed, but maybe somebody just thinks that you so have your stuff together that you don't have any issues, or you're not that sensitive, because Chantal is in the angel's advice and the risk card. And what I think this is about is reflecting on how you are feeling within your ego, okay? And I'm going to say it this way because I don't think it's a negative kind of ego thing. I think it's more of I kind of think of it this way. I know this one Capricorn man who, he's very clear and very direct, but he's really super sensitive at the same time. And most people don't really see the sensitivity in him because he's such a leader most of the time. So I feel like Capricorn potentially could be feeling sensitive, and this moon and this because there's a weird aspect to the moon in this Mercury retrograde. And I feel like, because in the final position I have Archangel Gabriel and I have the wind fairy, and the Archangel Gabriel is about communications and about turning over your insecurities, and then there's the wind fairy. So this is how I want to round it out. I feel like the potential that Capricorn has been somehow you're thought of as a leader in some way, or that you're oh, you're fine. No, but you're logical, blah, blah, blah. And so you're feeling a little sensitive in your emotional body and nobody's noticing. And it's kind of rubbing up against you. It's like, hey, I don't ask for much, but when I do, can somebody please, pay attention? And maybe nobody is right now. So I think that the risk here is, this is the angel's advice, is being softer about how you're feeling in your emotional body, and then giving yourself an opportunity to express that from a little bit more of a vulnerable place. Kind of, reminding somebody that, hey, yeah, most of the time I got myself together. I know where I'm going, but every once in a while, I don't. I'm a human being too. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. I feel like Capricorn is, I don't know, it's almost like it's terrible to say this, but I feel like you're being taken for granted for always having yourself together. And if you don't have yourself together, nobody knows what to do with you. Like, they don't know how to help you. So you still feel like you're by yourself a little bit. So that's where you go to God and the angels with this. Okay. All right. Yes, Andrea, yes, absolutely. Strong people and leaders are often treated as if they don't have feelings, and they don't ever have indecision or confusion. And that's the interesting part about, if you think about, Capricorn is ruled by self-doubt, Saturn, am I doing it right? Am I, it's such a weird, when you really think about it, it's kind of, what do they call it? An oxymoron. So this is what I want to say, Capricorn, this is where this whole last year, we've sort of been talking about you expressing your emotional body from a different place, and that place of more authenticity versus having to hold everybody else up. So that's what I'm kind of going with this week. And through this whole retrograde, taking this through the retrograde. Okay. All right. I know, Jennifer. It's such a pisser, isn't it? Pardon my language. I have a lot of Capricorn energy in my degrees. Okay. And it's interesting because when you really start to play with the different schools of thought, I see so many different ways of me being. I've got degrees on Leo too, which make me very Leo-like in some ways. And my Venus is at 10 degrees, which makes me really enjoy the Capricorn man, because I like that leadership. So, but there's so many hues, there's so many variations. And I think sometimes when people are full of indecision and they are around a Capricorn energy, it's very comforting. And then when the Capricorn needs some comforting, people don't know what to do with it. That's where it's frustrating. Okay, here we go. On to our Sagittarius. Do we have a couple Nickies in the room? Am I missing something? Oh, we do. Okay. Do we have two Nikki Ryans in the room? Yes, Priscilla, I agree. But it's like it's a fine edge. It's a weird thing because Capricorn can see so clearly some ways they need to be helped, but the other person can't really move it in. So it's weird. It's hard. And it's frustrating when someone says, well, you got this. All right, here we go. On to Sagittarius. Our first angel is Archangel Raphael. The second one is Ray. The third is Bethany. And the final is Fiona. Aileen, I go backwards, so we're heading towards Leo. Here we go, Sagittarius, rising, sun, moon, and stelliums. Oh, I have a quick funny story. So my name is Teri Hunter, right? We've talked about that. Should be in the title. I was in Palm Springs one time at a bar, and I met this guy, and he introduced us. He says, oh, my name's Teri. I said, oh, hi, my name's Teri too. I said, I'm Teri Hunter. And he said, I'm Teri Hunter. And I thought, isn't that weird? If we got married, I'd be Teri Hunter. Ooh! Okay. Too funny. All right, here we go. Oh, Kim, what does our midheaven mean? It is the highest place in our chart. It is the top, and then it will be in direct opposite to your IC, which is the bottom. Okay, here we go. Welcome, Arizona. All right. So we are on Sagittarius, moving towards Aries. I go backwards. Our first angel joining Archangel Raphael is the Swan. Joining Ray is the Trust card. Joining Bethany is the Raven. And joining Fiona, ooh, I just got chills, is the Wealth card. Okay. For my Sagittariuses, here we go. Archangel Raphael offers a healing, and he also talks about being a healer. And I want to give you guys this couple things about being a healer. Number one, I don't think being a healer is looking for a problem and trying to fix it. I think it's actually looking at the solution and focusing in on that. And in doing so, we actually start to set a path for others, because that's where the transformation. This is about trusting my intuitive gifts. This is the swan going from the ugly duckling to the swan, because the swan is the version of the duckling that's always been inside. And it isn't until the duckling allows the swan to evolve. So to me, this is where the healing reconciliation comes in for my Sagittariuses. It's about you are trusting a deeper knowing. And the deeper knowing comes from this. I believe that our natal chart is the soul's contract and intention for this lifetime. So in doing so, that's where I think the trust comes in, okay? This is trusting your intuitive gifts. And then in your opportunity, your obstacle is the trust card connected with Ray. Ray, the angel, talks about yoga and exercise being essential to your well-being. But look at the way she's sitting. She's in a meditative position with her power chakra coming out of her third eye, and it's flanked by the heart chakra and by the throat chakra. So here we have, this is really about trusting your connection to spirit. And then we go back, Sagittarius, to Archangel Raphael. This is where you will feel the most comfortable, the most secure is in that, because what you're wanting to achieve, Bethany is saying it's a time to take care of yourself in knowing that what's happening is a timing issue, okay? Lucky. Sorry, he was digging under the couch. I mean, under the coffee table. I want to offer you this idea. Lada has talked about Upachaya houses. There are houses in our charts that mature and they offer reward as we get into those seasons later in life. So I feel like for my Sagittarius, it's time to give life to the idea that the things that you want are not, because you haven't seen them doesn't mean they're not happening. There's a very good possibility that you have contracted to be one of the souls that experiences reward at a later season so that you can illuminate others into revitalizing the human experience, the human aging experience. And then here in the final position for Sagittarius is Fiona saying, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. And then there is the wealth card. This is not money. This is harmonious wealth. This is where you're feeling and thriving in all the areas of your body, your physical body, your emotional body, your spiritual body, your intimate body, your financial body, your family body, your friend body, all those various facets. So here we have, Sagittarius, this wonderful transformation that you're going through that lets you trust things from this place, not this place. The eyes are never going to give you the full story. You know, if you ever been to, if you ever got a ticket and you've gone to traffic school or whatever, you'll hear them talking about how people will witness an accident. You could have 6 people seeing the exact same situation, exact same accident, and they'll all tell 6 different stories. So there's perception and viewpoint. So that's where I feel like Sagittarius has the most opportunity to anchor in to their connection with spirit, which gives them deeper eyes to see from a deeper knowing. Okay, on to our Scorpios. Are y'all ready for Scorpio? Ooh, seeing swans all week. That's wonderful. These are all signs to pay attention to. Old is probably more of an attitude than it is a physical condition. I don't know if you guys have seen on Facebook over the last couple of years, there's this gorgeous older man. He's Asian. He's a model. And at 60, I think he's 80 something years old. And at 60, when he turned 60, he decided to start really working out. And then, you know, he grew his long gray hair out. And now he struts literally in like shirtless on the catwalk, and he's amazing. So our aging is about how excited we are about life. Our aging process will be dictated by our emotional body's ability to see a future that supports our happiness. And I want to offer you this too, because in my studies over the years, I've read that the human body is actually meant to live 200 years, but we don't really honor our deeper truths, so we get sick of being here and we leave. So anyway, that's anyway. Okay, here we go. On to our Scorpios. Scorpio, rising, moon, sun, and Stallions. Yeah, Stephen, you're so funny. 1,000 years, Steve. You think we're supposed to live 1,000 years? That's a long time. I'd rather shed a skin and start over again, to be honest with you. Okay. All right, here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Scorpio, our first angel is Maya. The second is Adriana. The third is Archangel Michael. And the final is Grace and Antoinette. All right, guys. Joining Maya for Scorpio is the frog. Joining Adriana is the cat. Joining Archangel Michael is the protection card. And joining Grace and Antoinette is the water fairy. Okay. So Maya represents schooling, education. For me, you know, this is really more about an energetic education, because this is how, to me, I manifest. Book learning doesn't really do much for me. And I want to say it this way for my Scorpios, because you are ruled by Pluto. You're extremely intense and rich and savory in your emotions. You love deeply, you love strong. And I feel like this surrendering to the truth of who you are, like, don't try to dumb down. It's almost like embracing, not the Scorpio sting. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Scorpio intuitive body, the Scorpio. It's just, I just think of like the most rich, intense, great, full bodied wine, a good steak. I mean, just everything that's, And then here's the frog. So this is how I want to say this. I feel like for Scorpio, during this Mercury retrograde, you have an opportunity to own who you are. And in owning who you are versus trying to be something else, and I'll tell you why I'm saying this, you're going to feel a release in your emotions. Because I feel like sometimes maybe that intensity, let's just say that there's a person around you that really doesn't like confrontation. They're just like, they'd rather just ignore something all day long. And so if you bring something up, they have maybe they overreact a little bit and they call you overly intense. I'm feeling like in some respects, if you own your feelings and you allow yourself to really look deeper, maybe that situation isn't aligned to you. Because here I'm going, in my opportunity or my obstacle is the cat, which represents independence and healthy boundaries. And Adriana says, I'm leading you towards the answers to your prayers. I believe wholeheartedly that for every full-bodied, rich, savory, intense, lovingly connected Scorpio, there is a match. So if for some reason you're finding that you're having energetic disconnects a little bit, then sort of sit back and let that be, because I believe that Spirit is leading you to a place where you can feel truly comfortable about who and what you are. Because in the angel's advice is the protection card and Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael he talks about courage in this respect of moving towards your life purpose, but he's also the great protector of all the archangels. Archangel Michael is the great warrior and protector, and there's the protection card. This is about you learning something a little different, Scorpio. It's like, I enjoy an intense conversation. I enjoy somebody who's rich. I don't like too much shallow, frivolous, superfluous conversations. So the reason I say this is because in the final position is the water fairy and Grace and Antoinette. I believe that you're going to start to experience more like-mindedness as you give life to the higher vibrations of Scorpio. Not the doubt, not the fear-based parts, but the more intuitive, transformed parts. That's the way I want to put it. Okay. Thank you, Charisse. That was so sweet of you. Everybody's so generous today. Thank you. Okay. We're going to go on to our Libras. My curly hair. Yeah, I had to do it today, guys. Sometimes, drying this big bush of hair takes so long that I don't know. I'm really like part bear. I like to sleep. So I wake up and I think, okay, I could get up now and blow dry my hair, or I could sleep for another 45 minutes. This morning I slept for another 45 minutes. All right, here we go, Libra. Okay. Oh, I am grateful for my thick hair. Trust me. I wasn't for a long time, but that was the days when straight hair was really cool. And so now I'm very much, I'm at 60 years old now. I can't be complaining about anything. I'm just happy. All right, here we go. Libra, our first angel is Desiree. The second is Omega. The third is Archangel Uriel. And the final is Azure. Interesting. Okay. All right. Joining Desiree is the cat. Joining Omega is the fire fairy. Joining Archangel Uriel is the king, and joining Azure is the novice. All right. So Desiree says conditions aren't necessarily favorable right now. Okay. And when I was looking at the cat, it says independence and healthy boundaries, but the first thing that hit me was 9 lives. The cat has 9 lives. So Desiree saying conditions aren't favorable led me to think that here we're starting a Mercury retrograde. Today is the day. If indeed Libra is starting a project or has an idea or an endeavor, this is a good time to reconceptualize, to review, to research, to rest, to think. Oftentimes in the creative process, if we push too hard, we actually stop the creative process. It's about allowing the flow. And I say this because in my opportunity and or my obstacle is the fire fairy, which is about creative action and optimism, and Omega, which is about victory, and keeping up the good work. And I want to say this because as a Libra sun, I have a project that I'm working on, and I'm working on it with other people. And while I'd like to move the story forward a lot faster, I find that I've got to have to work in a team effort, which is slowing things down in some respects. And yet I realize that there's a wisdom to this, because in my in the angel's advice is Archangel Uriel, frustration, anger, unforgiveness, and then there's the king. And this is about justice. This isn't about a man right now. This is about in relation to Omega and the fire fairy. So sometimes we think that we have a great idea. We think that things, oh, this is such a great idea. And yet it's just the first step in a series of inspired thoughts that will lead to a bigger idea. So for Libra, I feel like whatever you're working on right now, whether it be getting a new job, whether it be a personal project, or even endeavoring new relationships, it's about giving life to the idea of the transition. So if things aren't happening for you right now, then you're in a pause, or you're on the road too. Your job really is to think there's something better coming. There's more inspiration coming. There's something that maybe you can't see, and to sit receptive rather than blocking things off by being frustrated. And I feel like that this is like, in some ways, is a karmic card. It's a way of learning how you're inspired by ideas. It's not always about pushing out. It's about receiving in, because in the final position, we have the novice and we have Azure. Azure says your desired outcome will happen in the very near future. Don't try to force it. And here's the novice. The novice is about skill without practice. It's about curiosity. It's about new beginnings. So for my Libras, I want to say that I feel like during this Mercury retrograde, it's about allowing yourself the idea of marinating, of resting while you are revitalized and re-inspired and reconceptualizing things, whether it be in your love life, whether it be in your work life, whether it be a creative endeavor. And I feel like I'm really moving towards a creative endeavor. Because there's a wisdom to this pause. There's a wisdom to allowing yourself to be inspired. Okay, going backwards, we go backwards. Violet, yes, we're going on to Virgo. Somebody asked that, I can't remember. Okay. Stephen, what time do I wake up every day? As late as possible. I do not like to wake up early. So the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning is taking my dog for a walk so he could pee. And then if I could go back to bed, I do. I'm honestly going to say, this is going to sound a little crazy, you guys, but I absolutely believe in past lives. And when I was a child, people were always making me get up early because of their agendas, because of their whatever they have going on. It wasn't like, I was not a pampered child. So that kind of also with my idea that I've been a slave in many past lives where people made me get up when they wanted me to get up. I just love my freedom, and I love being able to sleep in. That's so weird. So I do it because I can. All right, on to our Virgos. You guys ready? Good for you, Barbara. Good for you. Not enough people enjoying their lives. Not enough people taking it easy. Thank you, Jennifer. Welcome. I know everybody, it's so funny how we have been, I believe that there's a certain amount of structure that we need just to bang around and not, hurt each other. But I also believe that we're going through a huge ascension and transformation. I believe that's what this transits, not just the Pluto Saturn, but the Uranus going through Taurus now, self-worth, our possessions, how we get our possessions, how we review ourselves, what we think about who and what we are. I feel like this ascension is where souls are incarnating to start to line up to their deeper truth of what they want to enjoy, what they want to create, what they want to experience within themselves. It's why we have all these reality shows and why YouTube is here. I mean, people are becoming stars on YouTube because they are brave enough and consistent enough to put themselves out on a platform where God knows who can find you and say whatever they want about you. So as we do that, there's going to be more fun on this planet, and people might live to be 1,000 years old, Steve Stanel, because then it's fun. Okay. CC Buffs. I love that. I think it's so funny. My dog is super. I love my dog. He's so lazy. He loves to sleep in. I literally, while I'm getting ready to take him out, he lays on the bed and just like stretches out and does not move. And when I come with the leash, then he rolls over. He doesn't even get up. He's so funny. Okay. All right. Dun, 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 dun. We're going on to our Virgos, rising, sun, moon, and Stallions. First angel is Shanti. The second is Teresa. The third is Oceana. And the final is Bethany. Excuse me. I was actually born in the late afternoon, 5:20 p.m. So I don't know what that does for me. Okay. All right, my Virgos. Joining Shanti is the horse. Joining Teresa is the novice. Joining Oceana is the king. And joining Bethany is the lady of the lake. Wow. I got so excited for you. I just got chills everywhere. Okay. So for my, hey, Wolfie, I love that. We're mates. Okay. Shanti is the angel of peace. And the horse is interesting to me because a few months ago, we used horse as a totem. And one of the things that really struck out at me was that horse is about going new directions. It's about, carving new paths. And for Virgo, I believe that Shanti is saying that as you move in a new direction, and that direction, we're talking about a Mercury retrograde today. We're talking about going into a 3-week, 4-week period with storm periods on each side. So this is really giving you an opportunity to review and move mentally into a new direction. And I want to say this because in our opportunity and our obstacle, we have Teresa and the Lady of the Lake. I'm sorry, not the Lady of the Lake, the novice. The Lady of the Lake's the last one. The novice is about skill without practice. It's about stepping out onto a new path, one that's more authentic to you. And Teresa is a card of worry for me. Okay, it's a card of being overly concerned about what are the obstacles, what's going to get in the way, what's my obligations, what is expected of me. And in the angel's advice, we have Oceana saying you're in touch with your truth to lovingly move yourself towards that. And again, the king is not a male energy. This is justice to me. This is the law, and the law of what you have. Let me put it this way. I don't think it's human law. I think it's the laws of the universe. So as you give yourself, Virgo, the opportunity to muse your path from a different perspective, peace will come in, because this is about stepping out into something that's more authentic to who and what you are and what you want, because in the final position is Bethany, the card of self-care, and the Lady of the Lake. This Mercury retrograde for my Virgos, I mean, while this is just one weekly dynamic, but we've got this 3-week area, 3-week, 4-week period. I feel like this is giving yourself permission to go in a new direction, to suspend the knowing of where you're going, but instead stay in the moment of it because it feels good to you, and to continue to be courageous so that you can start to get a rhythm of feeling that this is actually practical. This new direction is bringing me peace of mind because I'm able to be who and what I am and express myself from a completely authentic place. And this is something you're practicing because in some respects you have been taking care of whatever other people think of you, however other people perceive you. And now it's about how you perceive yourself and standing in that energy, because that's what Bethany is saying, to take care of you and to have the courage. Excalibur is the sword of truth. Okay. And imagine if each one of us, so we've got 115 people in the room right now, if each one of us stepped into our truth and affected one person, that would be over 200 people. And then those 200 people affect one person. And then those, and look at how it starts to send this wave. That's what we're doing here every week. And it's why I don't record these readings and just put them out. It's why I like to interact with y'all. So new people. Pin Drop Violence YT, welcome. This looks like it's your first time here. I don't recognize your name. Welcome. And Yulma, I'm glad you're here. Goldie Girl, welcome back. I believe we've seen your name here before. Okay, let's go on to our Leos. Leo rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Everybody, yeah, putting your number in to win a half-hour free reading with me. And you have to come back next Sunday or email me within the next week. So I'll announce the winner next week. Then you have another week to email me and let me know that you've seen it and you've won it and claim it. Okay, here we go. Oh, Stephen, you are just awesome. Thank you so much. I really enjoy doing this on Sundays. And I want to give confessions too, okay? Because I always tell you how much I enjoy doing it. But every Sunday morning, before I start the show, I get nervous. I feel a little sick to my stomach. I think I want to call in sick, but there's nobody to call in sick to. So the Saturn in my 10th house says, no, just get out there and do it. And then I say, but what if we buffer again today? What if nobody can hear me? What if? And then somehow my Aries takes over and I just become courageous and I stick myself out here. And then I'm so happy I did. And I'm so happy to be here because you guys all make me feel great. So I just thought I'd tell you that. All right, here we go. Woo. Here we go. On to our, I'm on Leo, right? Crystal's our first angel. Our second is Celeste. Our third is Shanti. And the final is Yvonne. Okay, here we go. Oh, I'll be here. I can't, I really, honestly, I think there's something about having this weird feeling that is a human part of me that has trouble accepting the good things sometimes, like it's easy to kind of have that struggle where you got to, oh, I'm working for this. But when you just sit back, sometimes I think it's kind of hard to just chillax. Good morning, darling. Welcome. Okay. Andrea, you have Leo, Sun, Uranus, and Pluto. This is for you. Okay. Crystal is being joined by the Wind Fairy. Celeste is being joined by the Letting Go card. Shanti's being joined by the Risk card. And Yvonne's being joined by the Horse. All right, my Leos. Crystal says, have faith and hope because there's more on the horizon that you can't see. And then there's the Wind Fairy. Here we are in a Mercury retrograde. And, even a Leo, even our Leos can have reflective thoughts. We think of Leo as always fun and always, romance and kind of a more light energy in some ways. But there's Leos that can be extremely reflective. And I would think that this is an opportunity for you to really discern whether you're being a little hard on yourself, your thoughts, and where you can step into a place that says, you know what, there's more that I can see. And I'm excited about that because for my Leos, we have the Letting Go card and then we have Celeste. These are two different energies than what you would think. First of all, the Letting Go card for me is the song Let It Go from Frozen. So it's funny how some distance makes everything look small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. You can go on with the rest of that song. Then we have Celeste. Celeste will talk about a move to a new home or a new place of employment, ushering in new positive energy. I don't see it that way because wherever I am, I think a certain way. I believe a certain thing. So as I start to shift the way I'm thinking to what I want to do, to test the limits, to break through, no right, no wrong, no rules for me, I'm free. And then I get a little distance from my fears. And there is Shanti, the angel of peace, and the risk card. This is really a bigger picture. Leo, I love Leo. I mean, yes, every once in a while a Leo will walk in the room and suck all the air out, but that's not really the case for the most part. Leo brings some vitality. Leo brings charm and romance and excitement into a room. And I feel like you're supposed to do that even more. And as I go into the final position, I have Yvonne and the horse. Yvonne for me is a card of vulnerability. I don't know if for you guys that are new to my show, I have no children. I'm 60 years old and I never got married. So my animals were always the thing that made me feel vulnerable. I love them like they were my children. So this is about being vulnerable. And then this is about going new directions. So as Leo has faith and hope that you are going in a, rather than over analyzing things, but doing things from your heart chakra, from what you want, and knowing that you bring something vital to the table, then I feel like you'll start to experience things from a new place. So, and when I say that new place, it's a place of self-acceptance. It's a place of feeling good in your skin, but from a slightly different place, not from how other people are perceiving you in your skin, but from how you are perceiving yourself. That's how I want to put it. Okay. Now, I also want to say that Wind Fairy to me is very much about using this Mercury retrograde, because this is the thing. Again, we're going into two signs. And I'm trying to remember if Mercury, for the most part, I feel like the last few Mercury retrogrades have really only been in one sign. So they've gone back and forth in one sign, but we're going to be traversing these double elements, this water element of Pisces and then going into air. And you think fish out of water, it could be very jarring. So that's why I feel like for Leo, this is where you're really going to have faith that the value you believe you bring into the table, you do, and to be vulnerable and to move in a new direction in your thoughts. Okay, on to our Cancers. You know, I think there's a sense of excitement and enthusiasm that comes in with Leo for me. And I know that you're represented by a big old lion, but sometimes you remind me of a puppy. You know, you come in the room and you're like, I'm here, you know, shaking my tail, and then you pee on the floor. And everybody's like, oh man, you peed on the floor. I say, get a towel, wipe it up, and move on. Forget about it. Who cares? That's what I say. All right. Let's go on to our Gemini Cancers. Jeez, I keep trying to skip things. I think that, you know what, I bought some contact paper for the Mercury retrograde, and I'm reshelving my kitchen after 16 and a half years. So, you know, I do like a good Mercury retrograde. I like organization. So it gives me an opportunity to give myself that as a, sometimes when I get in my head, I like going into doing little weird tasks like cleaning and organizing. Okay, here we go. On to our Cancers. Welcome, Nina. Welcome, C.I. I don't know how to say it. Alcocer? Coulser? Welcome, Mental Perspectives. Okay, so I go backwards. So I started with Pisces. I've already done Aquarius, and I'm moving towards Aries. And right now we're on Cancer. Cancer rising, Cancer sun, Cancer moon, Cancer stelliums. A stellium is technically, by the really strict rules, 4 planets in one sign. But a lot of people think of it as 3. Somebody asked earlier for clarification on that. So I would say anything, you know, 3 is going to have a strong influence. So if you have 3 or more planets in one sign. All right, here we go. I don't know what the bar chart is, Mel Black. But I would say this, if you're in a karmic report, it mentions a Mercury retrograde, then I would think that there's something about reviewing your being energy, reviewing how you're moving in through the different elements in your life, and allow yourself to focus on that so you're lined up with what you really want to experience. Okay. All right, here we go. Cancer. Our first angel is Vanessa. The second is Grace and Antoinette. The third is Aurora, and the final is Archangel Raphael. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about celebrity passings. I don't know. I think this is such a crazy time, you guys, honestly. Okay. Joining Vanessa is the Wealth card. Joining Grace and Antoinette is the Dog. Joining Aurora is the Lady of the Lake. And joining Archangel Raphael is the Forgiveness card. Okay. All right. So for my Cancers, here we go. This Wealth card is never about money. It's about harmonious wealth. It's about Vanessa represents making my life's decisions based on faith or fear. What's going to move me? Spirit is saying to Cancer, Cancer, you rule the fourth house traditionally. You rule family, you rule home and hearth. And I always feel like Cancer is very, obviously the moon rules you. So I want to say that your greatest harmonious wealth is going to come from having faith. And I feel like that faith is about a bigger picture. And I want to put it this way. When I say bigger picture, motherhood is focused on others. Motherhood is focused on the nurturing and the raising of other people. I feel like for my Cancers, this is about you. This is about nurturing you and what you want. So Vanessa is saying that as you have faith and you have faith in something bigger, that if you take care of you, you also take care of others. Because in the opportunity obstacle, I have the Dog, which represents unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity. And then I have Grace and Antoinette, which is a card of compassion. And I feel like this is Cancer needing compassion and love of others, them seeing me a little bit more for what I'm trying to do in my group effort. And then in the Angel's Advice, I have Aurora and the Lady of the Lake. Aurora says you're flying high right now, which may threaten others, but don't descend because they will soon be inspired by your example. The threatening is never about physical threat. It's a breaking of the box of thought. Again, this is where we go into the compassion card, because I feel like for Cancer, there's been a wanting to be seen or more fully embraced for what you bring to your intimate circle of people, your intimate circle of family, friends, home, and hearth. And I feel like while these are in your opportunity and your obstacle, this is the Grace and Antoinette and the Love card. This is what I believe that you want to experience and you want to give to others. I think there's a certain amount of holding a line, self-respect if people are taking advantage of you. And this is where faith comes in and where harmonious wealth comes in. Because if you say no to people that are taking advantage of you, I believe there'll be a reconciliation and a healing. There'll be an opportunity to feel something more authentically is the way. I don't think it's deeply. I think it's authentically. I think it's about a genuine feeling of give and take, instead of maybe something a little more superficial. It's been weird over this last conjunction. I felt like Cancer has been trying to connect more deeply and more intricately with those around them that they love and that they value, and they want to feel that way back. And I feel like there's been some sort of kind of choppy road in that respect. So I feel like as we're moving further into 2020 and as we go into this Mercury retrograde, giving yourself an opportunity to really reflect on where you are truly faithful in your value, or where you are hoping to be faithful and creating more, or trying to create more value, hoping it will come back at you, and then maybe put the brakes on that and put that on pause, so that you can recalibrate that. Okay. going to move on. But before I do, I want to say thank you to Mel Black. I so appreciate everybody being so generous this morning. I mean, honestly, it's just more than anything, I just feel the love when you guys do that. And not that I don't feel the love when you make your comments, but I just feel the love. All right, we are going on to our Geminis. We're coming to our final three. Okay. Now somebody said, okay. I heard somebody say that they've experienced some people crossing over. My condolences. I'm not aware of who in the UK might have crossed over, but my condolences. I know these things, they seem to be hitting us back to back all over the world. Okay, here we go. On to our Geminis. Gemini rising, Gemini's moon, Gemini sun, Gemini stelliums. Now, if you have a stellium in Gemini or Virgo, you can imagine that that's going to be super, super impactful in the respect that you're going to have a concentration of planets in the sign of communication and thought. So I want to offer it this way for my Geminis. Before you take any action at all, start to think about what is the platform and what am I thinking? Because you're going to go back and forth with the twins. So, okay. I did hear about Caroline Flack, and I'm really sorry. It hurts me when people have become so caught in the darkness that they take their own lives. You know, there's a reason, there's a difference, what a difference a day makes. And, you know, there's always that, I don't know. My cousin took his life a few years ago, and it was really surprising because he was such a happy-go-lucky appearing person. But he made some decisions that caught up with him. And that was the only way he could figure his way out. And this is why I think I believe in past lives and future lives, is because I can't believe God in his unconditional love would put a soul through that kind of torture. So in some ways, I feel like my cousin, he made his decisions based on what other people wanted from him, what other people might have thought or perceived of him, how he wanted to be perceived. And he didn't really do the hard work of believing in himself. So anyway, I'm sorry to hear about Caroline Flack. May her soul rest in peace until her next lifetime, where she will probably reenact many of the things she did in this lifetime so she can make other choices. Okay, here we go. Thank you, Nikki. That's very sweet. Okay, here we go. Gemini. For a second, I thought I swear, my brain. Okay. Our first angel is Desiree. The second is Aurora. The third is Opal. And the final is Grace and Antoinette. Okay. Desiree is being joined by the Truth card. Aurora is being joined by the Wasp. Opal's being joined by the Bee. And Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the Raven. Okay. So as I look at this, Desiree says conditions aren't favorable right now to look for other answers, to, seek comfort and help from God and the angels. And then there's the Truth card. I want to say this, Mercury retrograde, Gemini being ruled by Mercury, your brain may be going back and forth to the point where you are driving yourself crazy. Because I feel like Gemini knows a certain truth, but there's no evidence of that truth yet. There's a feeling inside of you. There's a inner knowing, and yet there's nothing in the physical experience to back that up. So you're kind of going, you're trying to brace. I don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to be too excited, because if it doesn't happen, I don't want to be upset. Well, Aurora's saying, you're flying high right now. Don't descend, because you will soon inspire others. And I think this is breaking the box of thought. And there's the Wasp. That's a stingy darn energy. And I feel like this is Gemini on Gemini. This is not Gemini being someone else making you feel stingy. I feel like you're having trouble believing a bigger picture. And I'm saying that because in the Angel's Advice, we have Opal and we have the B card. And when I'm talking to so many people, Opal for me is a card of my inner desires, the inner child, what I want more than anything that I'm afraid I want, that I'm afraid to say out loud because I'm afraid if I don't get it, I'll be crushed. And then the B card is saying, you're being energy. That's where Aurora comes in. It's your being energy, Gemini, that's going to really see you through to the finish line because it's a timing issue. There's the Raven. Something that you have been working towards, that you have been wanting, that you've been putting a very strong intention towards, it's going to happen. But sometimes if it happened when you think it should happen, it would only be a fraction of what you really want. By allowing the sauce to marinate, the herbs have a chance to seep into the sauce. That's what's happening. Somehow with Gemini, there's a sauce being brewed. And if you pull it off the stove too soon, it's going to taste too much like tomatoes. And the basil and the oregano and the thyme and all the other ingredients are not going to get an opportunity to be infused into the situation. So that was a big metaphor, but here you go. Have compassion for yourself as you realize that the timing isn't right, but go to the deeper truth. This is a timing issue. It's happening. The love you seek, the job you seek, the abundance you seek, the ease of the journey ahead that you seek is on its way. All right. Now your job is to stay aligned to that dynamic. And that I think is, if the one sign I think is most challenged is Gemini, because Gemini just, you're almost like worse than Libra in going back and forth, trying to balance things out. It's kind of, at least my experience of Gemini has been that way. And maybe it's because I'm an Aries rising Libra. I don't have that indecision as much, but I see it more prevalent in Geminis and Gemini women. And I think it's because women have kind of felt like maybe they don't win. Maybe it takes harder for me to win. And now's the time to start to realize, yes, we win. Yeah, we win. Hello, it's my turn. It's just a timing issue. And I'm gonna be compassionate with myself as I allow the universe to work for me. Okay, on to Taurus. Here we get to me, Taurus moon. Although Taurus rising, Taurus moon, Taurus sun, Taurus Stallions. Okay. All right, I want to remind everybody, we play the game every week. You can win a half-hour free reading with me by putting a number between 2 and 500. One is already out of play. We will do timestamps. We will do recaps of the numbers. Please be patient with us. We've had some people kind of getting up our grill about that, and we need a little time after the video processes to get this done. We usually have it up by Sunday afternoon. And for those of you that put timestamps in, I want to thank you so much for helping us out. We really appreciate it. All right, here we go, Taurus. CC Pups, you have a stellium in Gemini, a moon and moon, sun, just moon and sun, those two things. Well, that's not technically a stellium. Those are two very personal planets in one sign. So again, this is where you have to take into consideration the dynamics of what's going on in that house. So Gemini, it could affect you. Yeah. Okay, here we go. We have CC Pups and CC Joy. Look at all the synchronicity in the room today. We had two Nikki. Do we have two Nikki Ryans? But anyway, all right, here we go. Here we go, Taurus. Good to see you again. Cold as fire, hot as ice. Okay. Okay, here we go. Our first angel for Taurus is Desiree. That's 2 in a row. And then Ariel. Then we have Rochelle. And we have Athena. All right, here we go. Taurus. Joining Desiree is the movement card. That's so interesting when that counterintuitive energies show up. Okay, Ariel is being joined by the focus card. Rochelle's being joined by the trust card. And Athena's being joined by the wind fairy. Okay. All right, for my Taurus. We know that Uranus is going through Taurus and will be for quite some time. And the early born Tauruses have been feeling it the most right now. They've gone through quite a 3 times back and forth. But I want to offer this because Taurus, my moon is at 9 degrees. So I'm kind of anticipating, how is Uranus going to affect my moon, my emotions? And they're in a conversation with Neptune and with Mercury in my 8th house. So how is Uranus really going to trigger those 2 dynamics? And I've thought about, oh no, it could be really scary. And then I think to myself, maybe it's really good. Maybe I'll be liberated from some old emotional things that I haven't been able to let go of. Things that my mind, my Mercury, has them going over and over and over again. Even though I'm like, hey, I'm good. Sometimes I'm not so good with them. So this is what I want to say, because the movement card in Desiree for me is asking Taurus to really look deeper into what you're endeavoring right now. What are you pursuing? Are you pursuing something that is truly moving you towards what you want? Because there is the possibility that Taurus is in some ways looking for security, in some ways looking to feel connected or safe in a situation. And I say that because I feel like I need to dig deeper. I need to dig deeper about what really makes me feel safe. Is it material? Does material things make me feel safe? Or does something emotional make me feel safe? Is when I walk in a room and I feel accepted into the group, is that what I really want? Because I feel like Spirit is asking, this Desiree card is asking you to truly focus and to allow your connection to Spirit to shift your experiences. And I want to say it this way, because I think sometimes we think we want things, and then if we really examined it deeper, Mercury retrograde, maybe it isn't exactly what we want. Maybe it's the Band-Aid or the smaller version. Okay, this is how I want to put it. So for my Tauruses, this is a metaphor. I was working with a client, and this woman is of marrying age. She's in her mid-30s, and she really wants to find her life partner. She wants to feel that connection, and yet she keeps saying, I want a boyfriend. I want a boyfriend. And I say to her, no, you don't want a boyfriend. You want a husband. You want a life partner. You want that connection. And it's time to start declaring that. Quit telling the universe you want a boyfriend. You don't want a boyfriend. That's what I'm talking about. That's Desiree. And that's the movement card. That's the focus in the Ariel card. And then in the angel's advice is Rochelle saying to honor and follow the guidance of your heart. And then there's the trust card. This is not necessarily trusting other humans. It's trusting your life path. It's trusting that you have asked for a bigger story. It's trusting your connection to Spirit and knowing that when you focus in on that, all is well. Because for my Tauruses, this is a time to assert yourself lovingly, to think truly about what is my focus. Am I in some ways looking for the version of what I want that I think I can obtain? Oh, yay, a boyfriend. No, boyfriend feels temporary. A boyfriend feels like a chapter, not a journey. So I want to say, really go deeper. To allow Desiree not to put you in a fearful place, but into a more authentic place so that you can really move towards what you want and allow your thoughts to work with you and support you as you move forward. Okay. All right. I want to say this, you guys, as far as the buffering goes, the last week was crazy. We usually don't have that so bad. So we're used to having this be kind of more of a cool flow. So I like being back in the saddle. And I know some of you will suggest doing videos when it buffers, but I'm not going to do videos. I love the live stream. I love reading your comments. I love interacting with you. I love the whole dynamic of community. So that's why we just plug through buffering. All right, on to our final sign, Aries. That's Aries rising, sun, moon, and stelliums. Woo! So as I say that, I can't help but think of Mercury retrograde. Pisces is my 12th house. The 12th house is what is behind me. So my first instinct is, this Mercury retrograde could be very reflective in many ways. It could be reflective in a spiritual way. It could be bringing up things that I might not have seen, that will come to light, that I might have missed. So I want to say that for Aries. And I want to say this too, that if for some reason something comes up and it's feeling rather unpleasant, that's spirit protecting you from moving down and moving too far down a path that would otherwise have to be reversed. Okay. Did you just, Stephen Stanley, did you just quote Prince? Was that Prince? Okay. Oh no, it wasn't. It was Credence Clear. Love the one. Who is Love the One You're With? Who, I can't remember who did that. Is that Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young? Was it one of those guys? All right, I got to talk before my computer runs out. Okay, here we go. Aquarius, Mel Black. You can rewind and you can see Aquarius. It's going to be the second when the doves fly. Thank you, Charmaine. You're right. Okay, here we go. Aries, Xana is our first angel. The second is Athena. The third is Maya, and the final is Bridget. It's funny how I start to say something and then the cards back it up. Okay. Cards are still Nash and Young. Thank you, Andrea. All right. Joining Xana is the cat. Joining Athena is the fire fairy. Joining Maya is the partnership card. And joining Bridget is the goblin. All right, guys. As we were pulling cards, I thought to myself, a couple years ago, I had somebody flirting with me. And I'll tell you, that doesn't happen that often anymore with me. I'm just not that open. And, I had a stink on this guy. I knew he was flirting with me for some sort of hidden motive, but, it felt good at the time. And I ignored that hidden motive. And it bit me in the butt. So that's what I want to say for Aries. Xana is the card of protection, and the cat is about healthy boundaries and independence. And I want to offer you this. If this Mercury retrograde in your 12th house brings up something in your love life, because I think Pisces, I know that Venus has moved into Aries, but I feel like for some reason this is going to have something to do with your love life or something that hits your intimate heart chakra, because I feel like you're being protected and your job is to actually start to assess whether or not the situation is working for you, because Athena is saying to lovingly assert yourself, and the fire fairy is about creative action and optimism. This is my opportunity and or my obstacle. And then there's Maya, the card of schooling and education, and here is the partnership card. So this feeling of I feel like it's this. Aries, if for some reason you've got any rose-colored glasses going on in your partnership sector with other people, this could be not just intimate partners. It could be business partners. It could be friendship partners. It could even be friends. I feel like it's time to look a little deeper into the situation and to see where you are your ego's not being fed. And I want to put it this way, because I don't want the ego to be villainized. The ego is the part of us that propels us to try things, to dream, to persevere. And it's also the part of us that says, do you think you're really worthy? So for me, during this week, I feel like there's the potential, or during this retrograde, I want to say, I think there's the potential that there will be some challenging truths that will be revealed. And instead of looking at yourself as being sort of betrayed or victimized by them, think that you're being protected and that Spirit's offering you new life in the form of the cat. There's new and a more authentic to what you want. Because if there's, okay, I'm thinking of this. I'm so choppy right now because I'm a little distracted by Charmaine, and I'm so sorry that you lost your cat. That makes me so sad. Um, I was a cat person for many years, so apologize for interrupting myself. But for Aries, I want to say this: if for some reason you find that your ego's being bruised, or you're being dismissed, or people are treating you with lack of value, I don't think this is a week to let Mars take over and to try to combat it or address it. I feel like it's the opposite. It's about observing how people are showing up and knowing that maybe you've been calling forth that more deep, truthful experience of people with like-mindedness, people who, rather than always seeing you as strong, actually have compassion for you, or rather than seeing you always as a blunt person, realizing that you're really more like Norma Ray and you're fighting for everything to be fair. I feel like this is a time when there's an opportunity to assess who you're bringing into your life that really brings value to your life, and who maybe gets to take an outer place these days. So if you're seeing, this is what I was going to use this example. Years ago, I had a friend. I called her a friend, but she never, okay, this is back in the day when you actually called someone on the telephone. And I was always calling her. I was always trying to go see her. I was always trying to get together with her. And she was always like, oh, sure, yeah, call me later. Call me. And I got to a point when I stopped calling her because I wanted to see when was she going to call me back. She didn't. I feel like this is a potential of going through a dynamic where you're seeing who your real friends are, where your real connections are, where your real partnerships are. And if for some reason people have to take a back seat, that's okay. It isn't about getting rid of them. It's more about allowing yourself to see that they only bring a certain depth to your life. And that if you allow yourself to open up, that spirit can bring in somebody who would fill that role more sufficiently. Okay. I love calling people. I hate texting too much. First of all, it hurts after a while. I cannot text like this. I can only text with one hand. I don't know why people of my generation cannot text with two fingers. But anyway. All right, guys. So that's that for this week. I just want to offer you this idea. That as you're walking through these next week and this retrograde, not to fight it, be careful with your communications, but mostly be careful with your communications with yourself. Allow yourself the privilege of reviewing where you are potentially focusing in on things you think you can attain versus the deeper things that you really want. And then thanking Spirit for giving you the eyes to see things through a new lens, so that you can then anchor in that faith that creates miracles. Okay, thanks everybody for putting up with us. Grandma, thank you so much for joining us. I don't think I said that right. Grandma, I think that is. I'm not sure. I'm sorry that you've lost friends over the last 2 weeks. This has been a very, very hard conjunction between Pluto and Saturn. Jupiter has expanded a lot of that challenge. And in a lot of our personal charts, we're finding that it is affecting us on a deep level. But it's also an opportunity for us to step into a more authentic truth, and thereby being the stewards and the guardians for those around us. So again, thank you so much for being patient with us as we take a little bit of time to put the timestamps in and the number recaps. If you do find you have the winning number next week, please, you have 1 week to claim your prize. You don't have to book it, but you have to claim it. All right. So I think that's it this week. I want to thank Small Wildflowers for being here and taking care of everybody in the chat and being such a great energy. I want to thank everybody for being here. Your love, your affection, and your tips are they mean so much more to me energetically than they do financially. It's just so nice to see you finding value in me and in our work together. So we will see you next Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific for more messages with your angels. In the meantime, my name is Teri Hunter. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you can find me on Lada's website under the readers menu. And then we'll go from there. So we'll see you next week, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Sending lots of love to you. Namaste. Blessings.